Game developers, man. It is 2025. And this right here is an opportunity that I can't comprehend how y'all are not taking art games. Being the publisher, come on. Gamers and gamettes, what is going on? My name is Keith Sworn, and some of you may know me as Tanek127 Gaming. And welcome back to another video. And guys, in today's video, I want to talk to y'all about Fellowship. However, if you want to stay up to date on all things Fellowship, make sure you are liking today's video, subscribing to the channel if you are new, and let's go ahead and get on into today's topic. Now, for those who don't know, Fellowship is a brand new game getting ready to enter early access. And you guessed it, early access on Steam, PC, not a mention of any console in sight. Shocker there. But here's what bothers me, alright? I'm going to talk about what kind of game Fellowship is, and I'm going to bring you guys up to a situation that we dealt with a lot during the previous generation of consoles. Alright, the number one thing a lot of developers used to always say, and I'm going to bring that back, and I'm just looking at Fellowship like, what? So, as you guys know, my channel has had a focus on console MMORPGs for a long time. That's been the bread and butter of this channel ever since forever. Okay? And one constant excuse we used to hear all the time about developers not bringing MMOs to console, they're too big, the controls, and blah, blah, blah. We don't know if consoles can handle these type of games. You know, it needs to be something more condensed down to work on consoles, and this, that, and the fifth. Even though, you know, games like Final Fantasy XIV, Elder Scrolls Online, Throne and Liberty, I can just go on and on and on, have proved these claims wrong time and time and time again. For God's sakes, Final Fantasy XIV was started as a PlayStation 3 and PC exclusive. Now look at how big it is. Look at it. Probably the most successful console MMORPG to date. And it's got everything. It's the one game that competes with World of Warcraft. Now, what is Fellowship? Fellowship is being described as a MODA, a multiplayer online dungeon adventure. I don't know why they didn't just call it a multiplayer dungeon crawler, but whatever. And it has MMO mechanics. It has the whole Trinity system, tanks, healers, and DPS. You know, pull aggro, run dungeons and stuff like that. There's a gear grind to it and everything. It's basically a hub-based dungeon crawler. It has a social hub in it where, you know, you go and inspect your gear, work on your rotation, group up with other players and stuff like that, and you just run dungeons all day. It's pretty much like your typical, you know, kind of like, I'm not going to say ARPG, but, you know, it's kind of like, you know, like an ARPG or a dungeon crawler or stuff like that with multiplayer functionality and some MMO mechanics to it. What does this game sound like when I describe it to you like that? The exact fit for console that developers used to say all the time that would work on console platforms because, you know, it's a smaller, more condensed version of the MMO experience. And the developers of this game, they even describe it as, you know, people who just don't have the time for MMOs and stuff like that, and they want to get to that good meat and potatoes, you know, dungeon grind part and everything without dealing with endless questing, talking to a billion NPCs, and yada, yada, yada. I love the concept of this. I love it. And you would think in 2025, with a game like this, with, you know, this nice fantasy World of Warcraft style look, you know, consoles not having too much of a variety of games like this, you would think the developer, and especially art games, you know, with as many console games as they made, and them being the guys, you know, that were involved with Neverwinter, keep in mind, you would think console would be the first thing that comes to mind. But nope. No, 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 no. PC and PC early access. Now, granted, in all fairness, it is in early access, so they very well could consider console for the full launch. I have no idea. But from what I've seen, it hasn't really even been mentioned or talked about. And, if I'm wrong and somebody else has information on that, by all means, feel free to leave it in the comments, and I will pin your comment to the top of the comment section. But here's how developers go to describe Fellowship, a multiplayer online dungeon adventure set in an exciting fantasy setting. With endlessly scaling dungeon runs, players must focus on working together as a team, with an emphasis on skill, cooperation, and strategy to defeat bosses, collect loot, and work together to overcome ever-present challenges. Sounds like, your typical MMO-style dungeons to me. And guys, these dungeons look awesome. They have, crazy boss mechanics. There's all kinds of different, character classes. They have, a good loot system and everything like that. The game looks good. Now, it's had some rough first impressions, from streamers and stuff like that who got to play it in early access. I'm not in early access, I'm sorry, in a testing phase months ago. But from what I've seen, the game looks pretty solid. I haven't exactly, watched all these videos, to see like what exactly some streamers and creators didn't like about it. But from what I've seen from, some of the devlogs, I've looked at stuff and stuff like that, it looks like a fun time. And it just makes me wonder, like, you just look at something like this, like, wow, it's a smaller, more condensed MMO-like game. Why would you not want to put this on as many platforms as possible? I'm not saying put it on phones and stuff like that, but, and especially, these visuals, PlayStation 5, Series X and S, Nintendo Switch, why not? What are y'all waiting for? I'm just curious. I really want to know. I don't know. All right, I look at this game and it literally just blows my mind that it's not coming to console platforms, or at least it hasn't been mentioned, and or said like that's a focus of theirs or anything, because it'll clearly work. It'll clearly be a good fit. Guys, I really don't know. It's 2025. Our consoles are doing 120 FPS. The Nintendo Switch 2 does 120 FPS, for God's sakes. And we're still talking about, man, consoles need more MMOs. And MMOs can't figure out why they're dying. Live service games are clearly a popular thing, hence games like Fortnite and Apex Legends. Yet the only ideas people want to take from these games are the Battle Royale and Battle Passes. I don't understand it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Anyway, y'all enjoyed today's video. Smash that like. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out. Have a good one.